Okay, if you'll start again, here we are.
Okay.
This is Thursday, April 3rd.
Thursday, April 3rd at 5:02 p.m. I'm calling this meeting to order. There were some additions to the agenda, and feel free to add anything, but I'm telling you where I'm putting things. So the CD expiring in April is going to be under the financial report. A couple of things in new business will be a discussion of what impact there would be if the federal funding for libraries is cut off. A discussion of Kenny Bassett working on the sign for the library, any International Library Week plans that we have, and in communications, we have a group use request. So those were the new things.
And can I add to talk about the Facebook page?
Oh, yes, and that's
Okay.
there. I just forgot to say it. It's there. Okay, so review of minutes from last time. Just want to take a minute to look at those.
The roof repair is coming right up.
Mm-hmm.
Any additions or corrections?
Move they be approved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oops. Okay, the financial report, Roberta?
Okay. I don't know what, I guess I'll try to do them in the order as the reports. I have not done that
It's
very
your
well.
show, it's okay.
So basically, the library capital, this month, you'll notice it's changed. It's now 108,137. I guess that's 50. It's hard to read this.
It
And
really
that
is.
is basically, that includes the movement of the 50,000 that we transferred from residual dollars into capital. And you'll see me mention that again when I actually get to the financial report. So basically, it's the 50,000 moving in. The other part, the repair, the $24,500 was released as a liability. So basically, you had originally last month it was 82,000. We added 50,000. We backed out the 24, and then there's some residual interest from the CD. So we can wait to talk about the actual renewal of the CD later. And then the library building, they're about 101.7% of budget due to higher or unexpected repair costs. There's not much has changed there. Those numbers continue to be slightly over. And then the asset, your balance sheet, this month, again, it's 9,308. And this is where the 50,000 was rolled again into, and you'll see this in the expenses as well, impacted by the 50,000 here as well.
So we have remaining in that residual, whatever that number is.
Yeah.
8344 or 93.
9305.
I see it, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And where is that being kept?
So we have residual dollars, and it gets really, I had to stop and ask Lisa yesterday because quite frankly, I don't deal with the balance sheets all that much.
Okay.
You know, I had to sort of ask her, so help me understand this. So when you get to the expenses, you're going to see that there's a transfer out of $50,000 on the budget status report. So it makes us look
That was on the
like
first
we're
page.
way over budget. In reality, if you take the 50,000 out of that expense out of your expenses, we have $800 positive year to date. So sorry, I can't explain it easier, but it's more of a balance sheet thing that I'm not that person did. So moving on to the budget status report. Library revenues are 76.55% of budget. Basically, we now have 3 of the appropriations reflected, so, that's to be 75% is basically where we should be. And donations continue to be lower than budgeted expectations due to reduced revenue of book sales and donations, due to moving the book sale from library to the community hall. Library expenses are 138.86% of the budget, and basically, the majority of that is due to the $50,000 transfer. The other, if you back that out of it, you're seeing the same variances we've had all year long. Salary-related benefits due to unbudgeted salary increase, the computer managed services due to the new contract for IT services, and then the increase in housekeeping effective in October. And basically, books and grants expenses are slightly over as well. And I think Carolyn feels that we may have a little bit more expense towards between now and the next month.
So,
Yeah, I'll try and keep it reined in best I can, but
Just
we
for-
need to buy books.
Yep.
Just for, library, just for clarification,
Yes.
are we on budget or have we exceeded are we over budget and expense standpoint this year?
So without.
Forget the 50,000 being a neutral thing,
Yeah,
right?
I think.
I know it's not easy, that's right.
So basically, if you back out the 50,000, we would be, I think, if you're looking at just the bottom line, you'd be $800 to the good.
That's what you said last time, I just wanted to make sure everybody heard it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
So
you.
we're really where we should be.
Yeah.
I think we're
Just
pretty
right
close.
Pretty close
yeah.
on budget.
And when we talk about the renewal of the CD, I've got some ideas I'd like to share because I am concerned you have a really tight budget and it's not gonna take much to have you go
Push us
over.
over.
And so we need some flexibility and I'll talk about that further.
That may play into the CIC conversations
Yeah.
a little bit.
So that, and so the other thing to think about, things that haven't hit yet are, we were going to use the $4,555 to pay for the roof repairs. So that has not hit yet. Is that gonna happen between now and, or has
Yeah,
it?
they're coming in
April,
2 weeks.
Okay, so do we know exactly what that's going to be?
I think it was closer to 5,000.
Okay.
I can't, or I might have it.
I don't think I saw. You just told me when. What is SRP?
Oh, that's the summer reading program. grant.
Okay, all right.
I can spell things out.
No, that's all right.
It's okay.
I don't have a price on this piece.
Well, let's just say it's gonna be over 5.
I don't know if I got anything.
Well, that's what I've sort of been working with, that assumption. So that is that's gonna take, I think we were sort of using that amount as sort of helping us with our margin, and once that invoice hits, it's not gonna be there.
So we don't have any other big things. So we've got that 9305 left. That'll cover the roof,
Yeah.
and whatever else we run into.
Yeah, it's getting a little
Well,
tight,
I'd be, yeah.
getting a little tight,
Because
so.
we have the shed,
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
so, good point.
Okay, so then, talking about.
Warrants?
Oh, sorry, the warrants, 1,415.33 for board approval. Sorry, thank you, I had it on.
No, I know, I
Forgot
saw
to
it
mention.
passing, I was
This
holding
is
it.
all kind of
Keep me on
put
task.
together
Thank
about
you.
it.
Just the details.
How much are the warrants? I'll see it when it comes around.
Are they 1,413.33? That's what I had originally.
1,415.33.
Thank you.
I didn't know if the $2 mattered.
It doesn't, I always round up or down.
Okay.
Okay, so then, I guess when I'm thinking about the renewal of the CDs, I think my concern is, so a couple of things. The building of the shed and the fact that we need potentially $3,500 to come from somewhere. And because the whole project is more than 10,000, I think instead of trying to use, I think we just need to make sure that when we renew the CD, that we don't, some of the dollars that are in capital, we don't tie them up necessarily, because then you can access them sooner. Because if you put it in the CD, you're gonna be waiting until that CD, you need to renew it again. Whereas if you don't put all the money in there, it's more accessible. You still have to go to the board because it's capital, but it makes it more available. And that's my concern, is not having dollars available for your capital needs.
You can always take it out, but you lose the interest.
That's, well,
Right?
yes.
Isn't that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
you're penalized. If you take it out early, you're penalized. So the way I view it, if we can sort of decide how many dollars we don't necessarily want to put off for another 6 months,
Right.
and just leave that available, I
Yeah.
think that's,
Will you remind me how much is currently in the CD? Roughly, how much?
it's,
50?
I think, hang on a second, I think I've got it right here. Bear with me.
No, it's okay.
Bear with me, I think it was like 80. We had 62,273 was in the CD, and then we had the 20,338, which I don't think we put that into the CD.
No, I think we put it into the
Sorry.
capital.
Yeah,
Can you give me that figure one more time? Not with the pennies, but just round up to the,
62,273, sorry.
Yeah, let's leave it at that.
And I don't have the I asked Lisa if she had the interest rates yet, and she has not received them. So she'll need to follow up with the individual that provides her with that information.
If we would not renew the CD, just enroll that into our account that belongs to, belongs to the library. Yes, we have.
yeah.
But we're taping it under.
Well, but it says it's waiting to join. We're recording
We're
on
recording
a
on
phone,
the phone.
but I don't know what to do from here.
Yeah, no, me neither.
Okay.
Do you care? Like, if it's working, are you worried somebody might be coming in?
No.
So
That's a new one.
the shed will be a capital amount, whether it's grant funded or not. And so we will take that, we've made the request for the grant. Once we get the grant, we will take the project to the select board for their approval, for the total amount, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
And they will look for us to have the $10,000 grant, should we be fortunate to get it, plus whatever the overage is covered.
Correct.
And that will be separate and distinct from the $10,000 CI. It'll be a test. It's the first project that isn't part of the formal capital plan for the towns, but we have the dollars to cover it. But it is capital nonetheless because it exceeds the,
Yeah.
10,000 or greater.
So it doesn't go as a capital improvement project?
It does.
It does?
Yes.
So, and we need the select board
Yes.
approval?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes.
But it didn't go through the whole process.
It didn't go through the original planning process
Gotcha.
because it was out of cycle. And it was a good test, I think. I was interested to see how we would,
Yeah.
how it would work. So our biggest test not biggest test, but will be just to, once you get the grant, and I believe we will, determine what the final dollar amount will be for the project overall. And I believe we still have the need for electricians' pricing.
Well, Brian talked about,
Yeah, I was trying
was
to
he
figure
going
out.
to do that?
Oh, that's okay. I didn't want to jump to that, but I think it's okay.
Should we go in order and then,
Yes, let's go on.
we'll come
Yeah,
back
yeah.
to try to figure out how much we need
Yes.
to pull out of the CD?
Yeah.
Does that sound okay?
I think, again,
What's
I'll
your
have to,
recommendation on this CD?
and I'll follow up with, the 62, if it's still, the 62 is in the CD, but we have the 45 that's in the do other, which is the town's accounts, I guess?
We put our money in the town's account. It's
Yep,
like a
so
savings.
that is really accessible to us, so maybe this, I think the other thing we were talking about is, do we want to move some of the 50,000 into the CD as what, so we already, how much money do we want to have sitting in a flexible account versus how much money do you want to have sort of in a long-term CD where maybe you'll get a better interest rate?
Okay, so let's come back to that because there are going to be some other points of discussion that may bear on how much we want to
Yeah.
put in reserve. I think specifically
Yeah.
what things that you
I
want to
mean, we
talk
don't have to
about.
do it, we can just continue to roll the current CD over. And I don't think it's gonna impact us being able to meet any needs that we have, because we do have the other more flexible funds that are in the town account.
So
Is
if
it
we
not-
roll
Is
it
that
over, how long will that be for?
Pardon me?
If we roll the CD over?
Well, that's to be determined. I mean, it depends on the
What the rates
rates,
are.
you know, I don't know.
We can say, it's, so 3 months is usually the shortest term, right?
Correct, 3 months, 6 months, and 9 months, and usually if you go 3 months, so usually, I think where I've seen it is, I think sometimes the 3 months in the longer months aren't the best rates, it's usually that 6 month, but with everything that's going on right now, I haven't even
The rates
looked
are
at
not
it.
great right now.
No.
Yeah, so
We don't know what's gonna happen.
we don't know what's going to happen, exactly.
And we have expenses we need to cover.
Correct.
Yeah. So we'll talk about what expenses we need to cover,
Right.
That would
what
be-
anticipated
Yep.
expenses we have, and then maybe we can come back and make that decision.
Yep.
Does that sound okay?
Sounds good.
Librarian report?
So
Oh, I'm
just
sorry,
quickly, we should have done a test, because remember I emailed you to create, I don't have, I have the login to the overall town account, but I don't have the login that you do to, because you
Okay.
you're like a sub-user.
So it's
So you
not
kind of like have
with
your
the new
own.
link?
Well,
I-
somehow, so I updated the settings for the whole town account.
Right.
And then emailed you and said, okay, now you can go into your Zoom account that's under our umbrella and make changes, but I don't really have access to
Okay.
what you do.
So we'll just continue
So-
recording on the phone
Yeah,
and,
and then you and I will have a test meeting
yeah,
before the
we
next
can
one.
do that, yeah, okay.
We should have done that, but hindsight.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
guys.
Thank you, Corinne.
Okay.
Okay, so
The librarians report. The second Adventures in Gardening was again very well attended. There was 2 older kids that joined this time. The rest of the participants were adults, which is just fine. The tree program, unfortunately, was not well attended, but Chip Porter and Mary Jo McCarthy are gonna take that to the school, and then we may do it again at the library in the summer. The library has been like oddly quiet. I don't really know what's going on. We've had some very slow days. If it's the wind keeping people away or what. That being said, though, this week alone, we've had 5 new library cards issued.
Excellent.
Oh, good.
So maybe things are
We're just about to pressure or
turning.
something. Who knows?
Needs to-
We have a list of our upcoming programs. The April 1st Frauds and Scams program, there was 14 people that came, and the news was also there.
I
saw
saw
that
the
on the
link.
back.
If you want to see the link,
really cool.
it's on Front Porch Forum. David Eric ran the program, and then kind of did like an after-program report on Front Porch Forum, so it's there. You can check it out. We have a Getting to Know Your Nature area Zoom meeting in a couple weeks on a Tuesday evening. Chip Porter is running that. And you can either come to the community hall or you can contact me for the Zoom link. And then the other big program that's happening this month is the Lost Nation screening. This is Jay Craven's new film. It will be here at the community hall. They're going to get a chance to use the new projector system with that. We're hoping to fill the space. And tickets are free. Saturday matinee, 2 p.m. So, yeah, and I think that's all I
Can I ask a
have.
question about the
Yeah.
nature area? Getting
Yeah.
to know the nature area, is it specific to North Hero?
It is, it is.
I mean, I assume so, but it just seems generic.
So Ingalls, Pilat, kind of,
Mhm.
yep,
Yeah,
that's great.
yeah.
All right. Building report.
Okay.
Do you want to start and I can fill
Yeah,
in?
there's not- so the basement, that's been done. They have to come back though, right? Yes.
Oh, it's
To
Twin
finish.
State, yeah.
Yeah, I have that noted. When the weather is, I guess.
Yeah, they have to dig the outside
Yeah,
drainage.
Yeah.
And
so,
just lay a pipe in there.
I guess it's just about when the weather is conducive to all that.
Hmm.
Seems pretty good now.
Yeah.
It's nice and wet.
Yeah.
They haven't billed us yet? Have we
They-
paid them?
Yeah, we paid them. Yeah,
Yeah,
They're not
yeah.
gonna dig up the daffodils, are they?
no,
Good.
no. And it's just gonna be with shovels. They're not bringing in an excavator or anything.
Okay.
So it'll be minimal. Towards, out by like the word garden,
Okay.
it'll be under that,
Okay.
so none
And
of
it's
the
gonna be
gardens will be
obnoxious and
effective.
just out of abundance of caution and just say, let's make sure they come back and do the work.
Yeah,
I'm sure they will, but
yeah.
no.
Melissa's been staying on top
I'm
of
certain
them for
she's
other
like-
stuff, so.
Yeah,
She's their best friend, or worst enemy, depending upon how you.
No,
look
they're
at
good,
that.
they're good, they're good.
Okay.
Speaking of that, the basement, I called, yesterday we had mentioned about concern about mold in the basement, if there is or not. So I contacted the people that came to our house.
Oh, good.
And they can come, but they have a meter, it's just to check for moisture. They said like if it's more than 7%, then it's a concern. And we could, I guess in the state of Vermont, there's no requirement to have,
Remediation.
right, there's not, in New York State there is, but he said that they could just pop by and do that.
Okay,
Or he said if we wanted an actual assessment, it does cost, he gave me the name of a company, but it can cost up to $1,500 for them to do that.
And they're a little iffy, right? Because there's mold everywhere.
Right.
Like if we measured mold here, we would get levels of mold. So
Probably, yeah.
they're
So,
just, unless do you see a mold issue with?
We don't see, it isn't, we don't see it, but I guess my understanding is, you might know, but you don't always see it,
You
right?
don't always
It's
see
the
it,
moisture.
but you're,
You could smell it, I suppose.
you often have a sense of whether a place is moldy. I mean, every
Everywhere
place has
has
mold.
mold,
Books are
right.
gonna be
And
wet
there,
moldy.
and there are companies that are more or less legitimate,
Right, right.
and most of them would fall into the overcalling a mold
Yeah,
problem.
okay.
So
I'd be
we might,
cautious.
so we just had the remediation, right? So they
They
supposedly.
didn't do any we didn't have any mold remediation.
the
No.
Twin State didn't do any remediation. They
I
sealed
thought they were
the
doing a
basement.
vapor layer.
So did I.
They did, yeah, they did the vapor layer on the wall, but they didn't treat anything.
Okay.
Like, they have the vapor layer that will direct any water that comes in to the drainage system that goes around the exterior of the basement.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a
Um,
dehumidifier now too,
Right.
There,
correct?
yep, and there's a new sump pump, and they also removed all of the insulation from the ceiling,
So-
which made 1,000% difference
Yeah,
in what the building smells like.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
So I
So-
would let that, my own opinion, we all have wet, damp basements, is to let that,
Area.
let it
See
air
what
out.
happens,
Let it all work,
I
yeah.
would, and just let the,
Metaphorically, and.
yeah,
Put it
let
on
the
landfill.
let the air, let it.
I think that's all the
what I would
books
do.
are out.
Yeah, all that
Okay.
stuff about
Yeah.
toxic black mold was way overcalled. There, people get very worried if they see black mold anywhere, and they
Way to go,
don't
Doc.
need to.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
that's a
for
really
the
good
most
idea
part.
too, because
Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you for calling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, so,
Any electricians? No.
I do. Jenny, I have an electrician, yeah.
Is that okay with everybody? I was kind of taking over
No,
the
that's
discussion.
actually great. No, and- Okay, and then the roof repairs, April 15th.
Yay.
Okay.
I just want to add to the basement stuff, Melissa had Grunts Move Junk come
Okay.
to give an estimate of what it would cost to remove everything. They give an estimate of $2,600 to $2,700.
Wow.
And I kind of said,
Gulp.
no thank you to that. And Tracy and Michael from Public Works have already taken about half of the books out of the basement
God
for
bless
us.
them. Yeah.
We boxed them up, and they are going to take the rest of the boxes, the books too.
Wonderful.
Oh, that's
So,
great.
thank you very much to them, but
Yeah.
yeah, I felt that $3,000 was
Yeah.
a little
excessive.
high, so,
Yeah.
which
Thank
is
you.
a shame, but
Yeah,
there it is.
wow. So everything's out of there now? That
Half, another
Not
half.
We're getting there.
we're getting there? Okay.
We're getting there. There's also some furniture down there. Diane had initially, like, there's a dining room table and like a set of 4 chairs, various bookshelves and desks and things like that. There's a bunch of tables. Diane had suggested donating some of it to the refugees that Hannah Rose is working with. So I may do the table and chairs at least, but we'll keep all the bookshelves at least until the shed is filled with bookshelves, and then we can reassess what's down there, what's left over.
I would offer another option should you decide to give more, and that is the volunteer, the the auxiliary, the fire,
Yeah,
fire
the fire
department
department,
auxiliary
Mm.
has their annual flea market every year, and 100% of the
Oh,
funds
yeah.
go to support the fire department,
Yeah.
equipment, training,
Right.
and things like furniture.
That's a
will-
And they have a trailer, so you wouldn't necessarily have to wait until that.
Right.
We could always move it into the trailer
Just
Oh.
as a,
Hmm.
but, yeah,
in the interim.
there's always lots of stuff.
I always look forward to that.
Okay. Anything else for the building report? Old business, so we can continue the shed discussion just to get, maybe get a sense of how much that might cost and how much we have to plan for. And one thing, again, if we can sort of think about what are we missing in revenue by not having the book sale at the library? Like a couple thousand a year, do you think?
At least.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, we're almost at 4,000 now. And it was March, right? It was,
But we had a good amount of that come from the book sale that we did last Memorial Day.
Oh, that big one here.
There was like $1,000 or $2,000 of that came just from that weekend.
I think that was almost 2,000,
it
right?
would have been the wrong fiscal year. When did our fiscal year start?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, it doesn't count. But it was a good point, but we could have said that anyway. I'm not trying to,
No,
we need
yeah.
the shed, but I mean, I was surprised the number was as good as it was,
Right.
frankly, because, I mean, it was 30, I think
What is it?
3,900.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not bad.
What have we
right now.
gotten?
Oh,
30, I think we've gotten 3,900
$39.75, yeah.
so far, and the budget's 5.
$39.75 for
Well, that-
donations, and, but are those donations all the book sale?
No.
Okay.
No, they're a bunch of things.
oh, so it's not broken.
So we don't know how much is
Things
the
Oh,
budget.
so like the
Memory.
$1,000.
$1,000
yeah.
is not part of it. So maybe
Okay.
that's what you were thinking, yeah. That's right.
What else do
That
we
makes
have for
sense.
donations that should be subtracted from that when we're thinking about the books?
I'd have to,
I'm just thinking that that's going to be something that'll be a number that will be useful, especially as we talk about, you know,
Yeah,
the,
yeah. Although that number, we'd have to go back and every time look at what was, because it's all combined.
Mhm.
And we hope
I
someday.
would say at least 2,000 because we got 1,000 and at least two $500 donations.
Wow, okay.
Like around the
Okay.
holidays.
okay.
Is that normal for us, roughly?
The two $500 ones,
Alright.
yes. The $1,000 one,
Was an
unexpected because somebody died.
I hope
we
but-
got
someday we can-
$100 from the Great Ice. I mean,
Yeah.
I do
Right.
have a couple
I
things
hope someday we can
noted.
split that out,
we do
donations,
that?
like real donations, like have a.
I mean, I
we
can
need to
do
add it.
that,
No,
like,
no, that's
I mean,
fine.
yeah,
on-
we
I mean,
can
actually
do
on the
that
budget.
separately.
Yeah.
On the budget. 'cause it's
I don't know if
really
they can
helpful.
put it on like the status report, because I feel like maybe we've talked about that before.
We've had some discussions, even at the CIC meeting, about what I have, because I think it's important to us, should we
Mhm.
ever do a fundraiser or something, we want
Mhm.
to track what we have.
Exactly.
Whether you guys do it on the financial report, it's up to you, because it's just more additional work that,
Yeah,
yeah, you don't need to,
so I'll see what I can find for the details of the,
whatever. You
So
don't-
our
don't do
guess at
more
this
work than you need
point
to.
is that we might be losing half of our usual revenue from books.
Ish.
Ish, okay. So
2,000, yeah.
let's say we're 2,000 a year or
Seriously,
something.
yeah.
Then that extra 4,000 maybe that it's going to cost us above the grant would be made up in 2 years.
And I do want to put out that the Friends Group recently met, and they may be able to help with the overage.
That's
Really?
awesome.
I don't know if it would be the full amount, but I let them know how much it was,
And This
so.
is, this is up to all of you and up to our CFO who says that we can do this. We certainly can use capital funds that we have existing in the library to cover the overage.
Okay.
We'll have the $10,000 grant, so we'll need, I'm making this up, I know it's 35, but $4,000 in addition. So if we have those funds either in the town, savings account or in the
Yeah.
capital account, the select board, they won't care, as long as we can cover the capital.
Mhm.
And it should be capital, it shouldn't be operating dollars,
Correct.
right?
Okay.
Yep.
So we're good. And if they want to make a donation, that would be lovely. I mean,
Yeah.
I can just put it in your donation pile. and we'll use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and we,
Well, if they want to make a donation, we should put like a plaque on the shed.
Well, I'm wondering if the shed
Depends
should
on
be
how
like
much, yeah.
the camp bookstore or something like that, if that should be
mhm.
where their family name goes, since Bev and Bob Camp
Oh, right.
donated,
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I wondered
Yeah.
about that
That's
too.
right,
Yeah.
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 we-
Yeah.
but,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah,
Their friends can maybe have some bookshelves or something.
Yeah.
Well,
They give us a lot more
Yes,
money, yeah.
yes.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense, since we're not counting on any grants, and any other grants. Well, that's nice of the Friends group, though, but if they, maybe if we go over even more with the electricity,
Whatever, we'd be happy to take whatever.
yeah, if
It's
they want
just
to make a
less we have to
donation.
take out of the capital fund.
Yeah.
Right, right.
So you could use it for something else.
Yeah.
Any discussion of those numbers or what we're looking at?
We-
We're not-
we'll
Do we
just-
know when we're going to hear about the grant?
Mid-May is what Helen had said.
So if we could make the June select board meeting, it means we'd have to have
Mm.
a pretty good, we'd have to have kind of final quotes on
Mm-hmm,
the other work.
right.
Yeah,
The whole-
and so, let's see, in that, did Brian say we need an electrician?
Well,
Not
he
sure.
looped together, or lumped together insulation, ceiling, and electricity in the 3 to 3,500.
He's
Right.
gonna
Is
do
he,
that.
is he gonna
Is-
do the
okay,
electrical
that's-
work?
Yeah,
Oh.
for insulation, ceiling, and electricity.
he's gonna do the elect?
I didn't think
I don't know,
that
it
was
also
true.
says, I don't know what an electrician would charge
Charge
for
for
labor,
labor.
but hoping he would make us a good and fair price.
So there's a guy,
Kenny.
We need a electric.
Kenny, the dude that's, he's on the list of people for the library, he does our personal, like.
Oh, Kenny Bassett does electricity?
Not Kenny, but, Kenny,
Another Kenny.
It'd be good probably to
Tim.
get.
oh, I was thinking of a different Kenny, okay, I saw you.
there's a guy named Tim who lives in North Hero, who plays pickleball, and he's super nice. And
O'Reilly?
yeah, and he comes right away when we call him, and he's very, very reasonable.
Okay, so there's
and-
that, or there's a dude that I know, Kenny, I can't remember his last name.
We can get some quotes from a couple people.
I think that'd be great, and then you can kind of get a tight number.
Yeah.
of what you
Yeah.
want. And maybe we have a little money to make sure you get what you want, I
Yeah.
guess.
Since we think we're going to get the grants coming in mid-May, the other thing is that Craig Emmons and Carl, we're maybe going to look at the site and see whether we actually need risers to put the building on, what we need to do there, so we need to get that together too. So I can,
And
That
that'll
could
be a little-
happen anytime, right?
yeah, that could happen, you know, we were just
Now.
waiting for the snow to
Yeah.
melt, but we can do,
Right.
yeah, if you want me to get on that, I can do
And
that.
would that be a cost as well, or is that part of the
I
shed?
think that's in the shed price. Was
The
it?
risers, no, we were supposed to have risers ready for him.
Site prep should be done.
Yeah.
We need to do the site prep.
Yeah,
So we
we-
would also have to get gravel.
Well, Helen
Is it
talked to,
Carl
Helen talked to Carl
Oh,
Rocca,
okay.
and he was maybe gonna help with that.
Okay.
So I think I need to talk to Carl.
Yeah, we just need all the
So
line items,
Craig
make sure we got
and
them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it always ends up being something else, I mean, just from my own experience. Didn't
Okay,
go well.
okay, so, I think now we're down to capital improvement plan committee, and we'll talk about that income stuff, and then come back around to the CD, how much we hold out.
I think I covered one part of the capital improvement discussion, and that is how do we manage off-cycle requests for capital?
Mm.
And the intent is, it's the select board's decision always, we're just whatever we are, management arm of it. But, so when we get the pricing finalized and have the grant, we go to the select board for the final amount and for the final approval with the grant plus how we will cover it out of our capital fund. And it won't preclude us from doing the carpeting in 2025, 26, because that was already approved.
Good.
The only thing we have to do, so now we're in the cycle to do the next 5 years going forward. So we're now into, what is it, 28, 29, or 29, 30. So our task, I think, is to do two things. One, to make sure that we have a pretty good quote on the carpet, because when it comes time for us to take it to the select board and say, okay, we want to do the carpet, we will need an updated quote, I would assume, because nothing stays the same usually in terms
Well,
of
let's
price.
hope it doesn't have to
2025
be
to
imported.
2030 is our
Yes,
cycle,
I think
okay.
so.
It can't be.
I always get confused, we go 25, 26, 26, 27, 30, yeah.
No, I was gonna say, I understand that is the system, but it seems odd to me that since they approved the shed and we have the money, like, now we have to go through it again. It's just, I understand. but
What they
it's-
approved, it's interesting, what the select board actually approved was our request for the
permit.
grant and the permit. So
Oh,
did the
okay.
permit, you're right, first,
Mm-hmm.
and then the grant, and they said, yes, go forward. Now that we have, now we have to go back and say, yes, we have the grant, here's the $10,000, but we need additional funds. And if we wouldn't be lucky enough to have, we've done such a great job managing the expenses over the years, we wouldn't have those dollars, but we do. So it's a little
Yeah.
more choppy than it used
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah, but
You're right.
whatever.
But everybody's sort of getting there. We're learning. I can't, that's all I can say. And it really is if you're doing this it is the way you do it in business. But yeah,
Right, and generally, it's not a big deal. When you go to the select board, if you just have the numbers, and then they ask you a few questions.
Well, I would
and-
think at this point, I mean, since they approved us to go
Yes.
for the grant,
They'll
I mean,
probably-
that, they, in my mind, they were approving us getting the shed.
Yes.
Right, except they haven't heard all about the electricity and what the amount is over the grant, and that we've gotten the grant.
and that
when
we
we get
pay
the
for it.
grant.
I think that was we thought it was going to be 10,000. That's pretty much. But we didn't really know what it
We didn't know what we were doing. No, I didn't say that.
was. I really doubt that it's doing a good job anyway.
Right.
But we're doing it.
Okay.
And then but again, so what we need to think about, because I think the new forms for the next 5 years, notwithstanding the one we're currently in, that gets kind of erased because it's been approved, are in the package, and I think they're due to the CIC committee in June.
June 27th.
And so we have May and June, we have June to approve what we're going to submit. So what we need to be
Wow.
thinking about is, what we have on there is the carpet, and then we just have some miscellaneous painting, I think, for the next two
I think it goes
things.
carpets, then fixing the entryway.
That's right, and then
the
Yeah.
painting.
Yeah.
And there's our opportunity to say, yeah, probably, but maybe we want to put something else in there instead of, I don't know what. Or what do we need to add anything for that 5th year of the project?
Right.
Do we need any re-landscaping or anything?
What about the,
I
talking
don't
about
know.
the driveway, the parking lot, what was that discussion? Where did we end up on
Well,
that?
if the parking lot gets paved, that would be a town project, so we don't have to worry about that.
I'm going to throw something out and just popped in my just we're building a little bit of a
Empire.
yeah, okay, that's I was thinking of Enclave, but your Empire's good.
Library.
I couldn't think, but just we have a like a site plan now. We have a gazebo. We have the main building. We have a gazebo. We're gonna have a shed. We have the word garden. We have the
Raised beds.
the raised bed. I always call it the farmer's garden with the garden. But how do we figure out? Do we need some out? Is it time for us to think about doing a little more updating of the outdoor space and availability? Like, we have the picnic table and a couple of chairs, but is there something else?
We don't have the picnic table anymore, actually.
Okay, we don't. So we have a couple of.
Yeah.
We need to. I would like us to think about. Is there something we can do for the outside environment? You can get Wi-Fi if you're sitting out there looking at, reading a book or going to a library, or even maybe some outside, events that on a nice Saturday, sunny Saturday. So just something to think about, and it would be, I don't know, pavers and some new furniture.
Yeah, that's an
Just a
interesting
thought.
idea.
Yeah, so think about
Yeah.
that as an option. I don't know. Other than that, is there anything internally that we might need? We need new desks, chairs, shelving, I don't know. It has to aggregate to $10,000 or greater, so that's a lot of bookshelves probably.
Good-looking Adirondack chairs.
Yeah, it's really, comfortable. Something
Different
that's-
colors.
Something that's going to be comfortable. I envision an outdoor space that people want to go to and read their book, and go to the shed and go to the camp
Right.
shed and pick something out, or a book club meets out there.
I think
don't
like
know.
shaded areas.
Yes.
Like the trees are there, but there's not a lot of shade.
And that goes to maybe some landscaping too, or yeah.
I don't know.
What about speaking of trees, was there any concern about safety, some of the trees?
Oh,
Shouldn't be-
Tracy's gonna bring in somebody at some point this spring to look at, just to have the trees looked over, because I think it's been quite a while.
Yes, I don't.
That's a great
So there's a
idea.
place
Thank
where
you.
there's pileated woodpeckers that have been making holes.
Yeah, I've
And-
seen
but-
a lot
but-
of them and hearing a lot.
I got
Yeah,
some I
but-
can almost see
but
through them. It's
That's
good,
where,
though.
but that's where they are.
Yeah, I know.
So-
Yeah. No, I was just putting
Yeah,
out.
maybe what
because
you
I
can
know-
do is trim some of the. I think the worry is the things
There's
that
a lot
hang
of dead
over.
stuff.
It's gonna
Yeah,
fall
so
and hit
maybe
something.
Well, this is in
That could
context,
stay
we're gonna have
out.
an outdoor space
Oh,
where
yeah, maybe that
people
could stay.
are sitting
Yeah.
and
I think
chilling.
Macon did my,
Yeah.
it took
Solid.
like clear.
I love trees, don't get me wrong.
All the holes remain.
See, now you could have like a,
No, I think so.
bring your own lunch and we'd
Oh,
sell
right.
lemonade.
That'd be a bad
Yeah.
thing.
Just make sure he likes birds
Yeah.
before he assesses those trees.
we
Yeah,
don't
but
want-
they
we
do
don't want to
make,
take
they
them
do make
down.
really deep holes and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
can, that they go
Oh, I
way
have
in,
tons.
so
I've
that
seen
it can be
it.
an, it can be an issue.
Um,
Okay.
And in the packet, like, I included, like,
Yes, I saw that.
the shed. This is by no means a final draft of this. And, like, the things in red are essentially, like, things I had questions about. And they also, they updated this form a little bit, so it looks a little different than the previous ones that we did. But I'm welcome to anyone's feedback on this for when we need to turn it in, so.
Is this what we have to turn in and
We turn in one for each of the projects. I think.
But this one,
This
yeah,
is the new
and
one.
so
This is the
this
one
is
that-
for the shed.
This is the one that's gonna
Yeah.
go
Just
to the,
this is for the shed?
select board.
Right, yeah, so this is just the
Yeah,
shed.
it'll go to, Lisa and Corinne and stuff.
Yeah,
We already figured out at this committee how we are, what our role really is in it. How do we track this to make sure the
Right.
risk? I don't know, so I'm trying to think about that.
Facebook page,
yes, so, I have a personal Facebook page that is connected to the library's page, because you can't just have a business page, I guess,
really?
without being attached to somebody else. I would like to get rid of my Facebook page, just,
I don't believe you.
I don't want it anymore. And I tried to make kind of like a fakey account to attach to the library's page. Facebook wouldn't let me do that. If there's anybody here who would like to take that over, we can definitely keep the Facebook page. I will say, we don't get a lot of interaction with our page, like the last 1 or 2 years. Maybe we'll get one like on something or none at all. People have really seemed to shift towards Front Porch Forum for finding out about like local events or looking at our website. There's a myriad of reasons that I can give you that Corinne gave me about like a municipality department having a Facebook page and what would happen if any number of conversations began on that page. You know, you can't censor it, but
Yeah.
so there's lots going on with it. So,
and I think that's fine to put in the newsletter that it's, there's not gonna be a Facebook page, but there'll be announcements on
them.
Front Porch Forum.
right,
In the news-
right.
in
So
the-
is
And
everybody?
please use our please use our
Yeah.
webpage, that's really something. to
Yeah, and
promote.
I'm happy to play
Yes.
around with, TikTok or Blue Sky or other platforms if we want to do that. But yeah, if nobody wants to take the page over,
I'm trying
I
to.
want to
Then-
get rid of my
mine too.
Facebook page, but
Yeah.
I thought you can't.
Just
I
reading
tried
that
to
to you,
delete my
somebody.
Facebook page.
My son did,
I
so
couldn't.
I
Really?
can find out how he
Oh,
did it.
can you please? Yeah.
I'd like to do
Okay,
that too.
thank you.
Yeah, Blue Sky is a little clunky
It's
now,
tricky,
yeah, I'm
but
just
I
sorry
think
it'll
the
get
more
there.
that people use it,
Okay.
the better it'll get.
Yeah,
yeah, and I'll give everybody plenty of notice, like when it's
Okay.
going off, but thank you.
And just back to this form, I
Oh,
would
yeah.
list the shed under building and not grounds. I think.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know what to
Yeah.
put for that,
Yeah.
so, okay.
I'm just guessing.
Thanks.
That's what I would do, no, 'cause it is a structure.
Okay.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, because I didn't know if it meant like the existing building. Yeah.
So
No, it's-
Linda, you want to lead off what impact
Yeah.
would there be?
Well, I was concerned when I heard that the federal government might be ready to not fund libraries anymore. And so I was thinking that rather than waiting until that happens, that maybe we should talk about what we could do, possibly have some kind of fundraising that would, then we could put in one of our accounts if we didn't need it. But like Caroline was telling me, each of the things that would probably be eliminated if we didn't get the fund, could you? go
Yeah,
through
yeah.
those?
So, there are lots of things that we personally, like our library gets support with that doesn't cost money, but costs the Department of Libraries money, such as continuing education, any sort of assistance with large print materials or braille books or audio readers. There is, and I have a list of these that the Vermont Library Association put in their statement. But the things that are monetized for us would be the courier grant. So that pays for half of our postage for the interlibrary loan requests, which I think is now almost at $700 a year. So we would be losing that. And then the other half, or the other part, is the summer reading performer grant that we get every summer, which is $350. And really any other grant that we get from the state could essentially be affected. But the two that we always depend on are the career grant and the summer performer grant. So, and really, I mean, any of the support that we get from the Department of Libraries could be compromised, so.
Here's my thoughts. Advocacy is really important at this time in our lives for a whole lot of things. And a lot of advocacy is about just educating people of what's happening, because so much is happening, you can't even keep up. So tell your, and so, what we do is you call Bernie Sanders and you call Peter Welch and you call Becky Ballot and you tell her why this is important and to make sure they pay attention to it. I'm sure that the library, the division, what's it called? The Department of Libraries is doing much the same. I mean, they have to be that, and we should all we should be making that part of our regular. We could do a postcard campaign. There's a lot of things to do just to get people focused on. Hey, it hasn't happened, so we don't want it to happen. But
So you could put it in the newsletter, and I
Yes,
like the
good.
postcard thing, that
Yeah.
you could have a postcard day where people
Right.
could come into the
Yeah,
library
right.
and fill out their
Yeah,
postcard.
yeah.
that's what we did for
Yeah.
say that.
I know on that link, when I emailed you guys with
Yes,
all that
yes,
information,
yeah.
it was something Becca Balint, had supported, I mean, it might have been an old one, but, because you could look to see which states and what, senators, representatives are all supporting libraries, and her name came up.
Becca?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Good, good.
I went to a different and there's a group, and I went to the one in Shelburne the other day, and the person next to me I knew her from hospital. She calls senators all over the country. They don't have to be in
Yeah.
our district.
Right.
I thought that was a pretty.
Yeah.
I was stuck to why I called anyway. So I thought it was great. But I think as much as we can educate our friends and our family and our constituents about what this could mean to our library, that would be important over time. I hope it's not a high profile.
It's pretty scary from what I
It
read.
is scary.
I
Yeah, I
agree.
read it. I
It's
thought,
terrifying.
Yeah.
yeah, well, they can, well,
I like the postcard day
Yeah,
and putting
that.
something in the newsletter about a
Right.
postcard day. Anything more about that? I think that's great, Linda, to bring that up, to start thinking
Yeah.
about it. Kenny Bassett, working on the
Yes,
sign.
so Kenny Bassett has been working on some of the signs around town. He did the community hall sign out front here. And he came to the library a couple weeks ago and asked about upgrading our sign, the street sign, not the plastic one that has events, but the one that says North Hero Library, it has the hours hanging underneath. He said he wasn't able to come tonight, but if you would all like more information about his thoughts, to see some of the mock-ups that he's done, he's happy to come to the meeting in May to kind of give like a presentation about it. He said he would be willing to donate his time, but not the materials. So we would have to pay for that. And any questions that folks come up with can either wait until the meeting in May if we want him to come, or you can give them to me and I can kind of email him like a list of things for him to think about. But
Kenny came, I met him at the CIC meeting last month. He Zoomed, this month he Zoomed, last month he Zoomed in. And then he called me a day or two later and said, oh, by the way, you're going to hear about this. And he told me about the signs. And I guess I would be interested in hearing what he has to, if he can come to the May meeting. The sign out there is great. I think
Yeah.
we could do
And our library sign needs help.
It needs a little
It needs a
love.
little bit of
Yeah,
love.
it does. It's
he knows.
tilty
Yeah,
with
it's
the
And the
hours.
hours underneath are
Right, yeah.
small.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's,
hard
and
to
there,
see.
it's kind of cracked in places, so
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea to redo
Yeah,
the sign.
we'd encourage him.
Okay, I will reach out to him and
If you
invite
want to
him
come to the
to
meeting, or
May.
if you just want to say, send us your ideas, it's up to you guys.
Yeah, I wonder about that, just getting some mock-ups of, what do you think?
Or to at least ask before the meeting so that y'all know what
We can look at
you're
it.
looking at. Yeah, so it's
He may
not.
want, to give some advice. I mean, if I was the artist doing this, I would want to explain what I'm trying to
Mm.
do a
Yeah,
little bit.
it would
We
be
could have
nice
questions,
to
like,
sure.
I know,
Okay,
we
sure.
always do.
Yeah, we
because
can
we're
invite
smart
him to
women.
Okay.
We want to know
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah.
That's right. International Library Week plans, when is that?
I realized it's April 6th because reading that email, like when it was going.
Oh, sorry, sorry.
And I was like,
I didn't know
April
this.
So that's
6th
Monday.
and 12.
Yes, next
I
week.
know, I just didn't know if there was
How
any.
about survival?
Survival, yeah, right. I
So
mean,
it's coming up too soon?
Yeah, I just,
Okay.
threw it out. I mean,
We can try for next year.
no pressure,
Yeah.
just like, I didn't want to make it sound like, hey,
There's,
we're
there's
You
one
always
more-
have stuff going on.
gonna-
Yeah.
let's do- yeah.
You guys probably heard about this too, the Derby Line Library.
Yes.
I thought that was remarkable what they did to the solution.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't
yes,
hear the
border.
solution.
Yes, they were,
Oh, what
Go
is
ahead.
the solution?
I actually, I didn't know they were allowing people in still.
They shared back and
Yeah.
forth, and they never required them to go through customs. And
Right.
President Trump said, now you have to go through customs,
Right.
little kids to go to the library.
Yeah.
Because it sits right on the, if you've been there,
Right
it's
on
right.
the line.
So the town got together, the library board in the town, and there was an emergency exit that faced north. Let's make
Canada.
it easy for me. Yeah, Canada. And so they've made that the main entrance. So you actually walk on Canadian soil into the library, so.
Well, and that they needed $100,000 to make it fully accessible. Canadian author Louise Penny donated 50 grand.
Wow.
And then, I mean,
I
in
didn't
a
know
day,
that.
they got
Wow.
well above
That's
100,000.
I didn't
So,
know Louise Penny did. She, that's,
Yeah.
that's the only place she's going to do her book.
Yep,
Yeah.
That would be fun.
yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's really great.
Anyway, I thought that was just a beautiful story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Exit the fire.
Communications
That's
group,
fun.
group use request?
I'm sorry?
Oh, yes, so,
The-
there's a new group, or a new chapter of the Indivisible group that has formed in the Champlain Islands. And I know it's a little short notice, but they're hoping to use the library tomorrow afternoon for their meeting. Diane would be attending, so we would be able to,
No
like,
insurance.
skip the insurance
Yeah.
thing. But I have
Is our library's open tomorrow afternoon, 9 to 2. What day is tomorrow?
they would be meeting
Friday.
tomorrow at 3, and there would be 6 to 8 people there. Diane would be there.
Great, and not 80 or 90, just the.
No, it's just like the
leadership.
leadership, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
I'm
fine.
good.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's great.
Give
We'll
us some
totally
postcards to
encourage
write.
them
Yeah, right.
That's awesome.
Okay.
I like writing.
We'll do a big yes.
Can I just ask a follow-up question of what they're looking for with the updating of the capital? So do we have to, for 2026, where we're saying we're doing the carpet replacement, do we have to get better quotes for that, or
I think you'd want to refresh the
the cost of
Oh,
that?
so we
quote
need
if you
that by
could, yes.
June.
Yeah.
Oh, so-
Or at least, we could refresh it in June and then come, when we do it in December, I'm making this up, it could be a different price, but.
Did you pick
But
a
if-
company?
Oh, no.
But if we
I
know
haven't
it's,
even-
but
no,
I think we
haven't
just
done
did, we just did a square footage, I think we did a square footage. I think it's just time to
We did a
tighten it up
really vague,
Okay.
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
calculation to
And
figure it out.
someone, Jim Miller, who's on the committee with me, is from Canada. He said when they did some work at their community hall, I think it was Lowe's, has a in-house program for, at least in Canada, for support of not-for-profits, and they had a team come in and do the work. And I said, I didn't know such thing existed.
I will look
But it's
into
at least
that.
a
Yeah,
question.
that sounds like a better idea.
Is Lowe's
And
run by
Home
good
Depot
guys?
supports Trump.
They're better, yeah. I have the.
Oh, yeah,
wait,
Home
you have
Depot.
Are they
not
on the
great.
good guy
The
list?
good
don't know.
thing, you guys.
I don't know.
We can find out.
Okay,
I hope so.
right.
Well, that would be good.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So.
We'd have the exact square footage.
Yes.
Then I think the last thing is going back to the CD, what we want to keep out. So now we are thinking we might want a little bit of little bit of an emergency, you know, if we need to support the interlibrary loans or the summer reading program, maybe that'd be another 1,000 or something that we want to keep out for that,
Some cushion on that.
some cushion.
So so right now, like I said, the CD has like the 62,000, and then we have, we moved in some more money. It's like,
So let's see, this. I'm making this up, 5,000 for the shed. I know we don't need that much, but
Well,
if
you
we have to,
never know.
if we have to
Don't
do
know for sure.
risers.
We don't have
to
our
do-
electrician hired.
And we don't have the money, there's gonna be some money for the foundation part. Okay, 5,000 for the shed. There's some other overage that's happening with the roof.
Mm.
1,000? 500? Do we know?
To repair.
Because we have the 4,500, I mean, yeah, I would call it 1,000, just to be
Yeah,
safe.
just to be safe.
1,000 more for roof, okay.
Okay, and then the two things we talked about earlier, I wrote the number down, but I don't remember where I wrote it, so here we go. The courier grant.
Yeah, the
for help,
1,000
or just sort of
emergency.
management, sort of
Mm.
operating costs that might be over this year because we're so close.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Even going into next year.
Do we want 3,000 emergency operating costs
Let's just-
before next year? Is that enough?
So 6, we're at 9,000 without that, yeah, so, yeah, so. Yeah, so
Well-
10? I have 5,000 for the shed, 1,000 for the roof. That's 6,000. And then I made up the number 10. You said 3 for the others.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So-
think that's good.
I'm
So
good at round
10,000?
numbers.
Yeah.
So we
What do you
take
think,
10,000
Chief?
out of the CD?
yeah, I think that would be good, 10,000. And I'll talk with Lisa,
You take a
too.
look, Chief, just in case we messed up the numbers, but,
Yeah.
or I messed up the numbers.
I think it's just like, there's enough, I think, like,
It's probably plenty, but make sure.
and I'll talk with Lisa too, because maybe she'll have a better sense as well. But I just don't want to be in a situation where you don't have it, the flexibility.
Because we said, well, every department said this, and we certainly did, we have the carpet, whether it's 10,000 or
Yeah.
7,000 or 17,000, we have the money to cover it.
Right.
And we do.
And you do.
We just want to make sure that we have, we can keep, as
And
much
I-
as
And I
possible,
don't
keep saying
know,
that.
like, if I don't know how generous the town is, if they, if you pay for it now and they wait for a CD to renew, I don't know how much flexibility we have with that. I don't know enough about the
No,
town.
but I think the town's working through, the fact that this is going to be an evolution for us.
Yeah.
Every one of the departments in the town has their own capital
Yeah.
fund. We have, I'm making this up now, $100,000 in ours, and it belongs to us. The goal would be someday to put the library $100,000 with the fire department $100,000 with the whatever else $100,000 under the auspices of the select board, where it really is now anyway, because they make the decisions of what we can buy. That money still belongs to us, but one year the library may need $150,000, and so the select board could say that makes good sense. We have
Yeah.
yours, and we can, because it's like having a much larger savings account.
Right.
You still have credit for the dollars in there, but they have the ability to manage this bolus of what could be a significant sum of dollars.
Mm.
And
That seems potentially
that's in the future.
controversial.
Oh, it's going to be very controversial. We're not there yet, but that would be
Yeah.
at least some of the people that are much more adept at this than I am in terms of Frank. And Jim talk about that.
Mhm.
And it's way off. I wouldn't worry about it, but it's just one of those things. If we
Yeah, it's
can
coming.
think about it belongs to us, it has our name on it.
Yeah.
They can't take it away from us. That's also why I want to make sure that
That
we
they
have.
can borrow it.
They can.
We go to this.
They
new
can. The
system.
select board has the ability to say yes or
Shuffle.
no to anything, but they can shuffle that big sum of money wherever they need to manage the cost. Plus, they have their own contingencies. And right now, we have all these little contingencies all over the place, which is a little bit weird. I mean, but it's not anything that's probably going to happen in my lifetime, so it's okay.
In terms of the term for the CD, nobody knows what will happen.
I don't know what the rates are. I can check again with Lisa.
No, I know what
Yeah.
what we don't know, it's really the trajectory of the rates. And so far, rates just have been getting worse. And so 6 months from now, the rates may be worse,
May not be worth it.
even. So it's just hard to know where to put that. But with you putting your head together with Lisa,
Yeah.
maybe.
And can we do something like that, or do we have to have a special
I was just
meeting?
gonna ask, if we
Because you
could
can't
give
do it
you,
through email.
if we could give you, the authority to make
We
that
did that
decision
last
for
time,
us.
I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
But I think where I'm sort of, so right now, we have $108,000 sitting in capital. Part of it's into the CD, and the other 45 is sitting in, I don't know what kind of an account they have. You know, so do you want to, if what I'm hearing is you want to just leave 10,000 there to be able to use any overage we need for the shed, any additional
It's-
roof
Yeah, it's
costs?
a mix of capital and operating expenses, really, at 10,000, because the shed could be capital, right?
See, this is all sitting in capital. That's
Okay,
the-
okay.
This is all capital, so that's where I don't know that you can use it for operating.
So for the roof or anything, or cover overages. But when you take it out of the CD, can you allocate a portion of it to the,
You can't, I don't think you can move it.
oh, sorry,
It has
it's already
to
in
be.
capital,
It's in capital, and that's what you said, you had to use it as capital. That's like I said, like, when we're talking about the $10,000 grant,
Right.
and it's actually gonna cost us 14,000, let's, for example. Because that's a capital, the total cost is capital, we can use these funds for that. So if it's not a capital project.
And all the rest of the things we were talking about are not capital? What about the roof?
That's not.
No, that's,
It has
so
to be
not,
$10,000 or
Yeah.
more.
oh, okay.
But we
okay.
have a 9,000, it's still in our,
I think we're good for the roof,
yeah, Yeah.
so.
yeah, okay.
And we do know we have some overage that were sort of out of our control.
Yeah.
So I don't
yeah,
think we can be held accountable for those. We didn't,
Right,
you know, they increased that.
the IT budget, for example, or the other things, yes, no, I think we're okay. It makes
Okay.
sense.
Are you okay? You're giving me,
No, I'm just thinking, I mean, but I'm thinking that there's so many things we just don't know, so I don't envy your position is what I'm thinking. But I trust, but I absolutely trust you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, to make a decision.
so what I will do is I will meet with Lisa. You know, and I know, you know, the shed, I'll talk with her about the shed.
Capital, yeah.
Anything that's capital that, you know, we want to make sure we reserve enough out so that we have more flexibility with it. Whereas you put it into the CD, like I said, you're gonna get penalized if you pull it out early. I'd rather not have as much in the CD, especially with the unknowns about what the
I would
interest
agree
rate
with
is.
And it may
I
not be
think so,
even
too.
worth it if the rates are so low.
So we may need to vote to authorize you to make the decision about the CD, how long it will be and how much, right?
I would make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second that. Or, well, you can second.
And Carol and I might be contacting you.
I would, just one, I know you already know this, I'm just gonna repeat it for my own sake, really, and that is, it's the capital for the shed, but it's also the capital for the remaining projects that we currently have on that rollout that were approved at the, as part of the capital process at the town meeting.
Right.
So there's the carpeting.
The
there's
carpeting, the painting, and the entryways, but those
Yes.
are 27 and 28. The carpet replacement for
Yes.
2026.
Yes,
The entryways was for 2027,
yes.
and the painting was for 2028. So I don't
Yes.
think, you know, I don't think we need to worry about those, because those are gonna happen in the future.
Yes,
So just the carpet.
it's, no, but my only point is if it's our capital fund, we're managing
Yeah.
it toward, because that's what we've said
Yeah.
our priority capital is. And this is the opportunity for us to change that by June, if
Okay.
we think that's not, no
We
longer
come
the
up with
priority. That was
something
really,
else.
so thank you for helping me with that.
Okay.
That's the
So
intent.
I'm comfortable with that, you making that decision. But I think last time we had it within a parameter, a dollar amount, like.
Right, okay.
So I think that
Oh, so
you
you
need
want to amend
maybe
that?
to amend your motion.
Okay.
Yeah, can you put the motion into words?
We didn't vote on it, did we? Okay. So, I would like that our treasurer
Esteemed
have the
treasurer.
our esteemed treasurer, make the final decision regarding the duration and amount, if any, that would be part of the CD going forward. I'm not making it, does that make sense? And you want to add,
Well, I was gonna, like, maximum 15,000 or less, or, 12,000 or less, or whatever, so
Okay.
that,
Not to be.
Yeah, because the 62,000 is, I think, without doing anything, we would just roll that forward, because that's we don't need it. It's the other where we brought the surplus funds in. That's really where, I'm trying to decide, do we want to move more, some of that into the CD, or,
Keep it in this.
or just keep it in this account, whatever account they're
But that
using.
account is a capital account or not a
It
capital
is,
account?
it is a capital
Okay,
account.
so it doesn't
Yeah, they're
matter
both
almost.
capital. It's just a matter of how much flexibility you have, without having to cash a CD, and that's really what's the
Right.
determining factor. It has to be used in capital, and it's just a matter of,
See, I almost think it's
So you
hard
think
to-
we shouldn't move anything out of the CD at this point, use other funds for what we need? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think that's what you're saying.
no,
No.
so it's just right now, so you have 108,000 in capital, and there's two different, just think of it, there's two different accounts. There's an account over here that's a CD,
Right.
and once you put the money in the CD, I mean, you can get it out, but you're gonna get penalized for getting
You
it
can
out.
move it out for 6 months.
And
let's
usually
say.
your CDs, you make a higher interest rate. Then you have this other account, maybe it's, I don't know, it's a savings account, I don't know what
Right.
kind of an account it is.
Hardly
Yeah,
anything.
And you're earning interest on it, but now that account has a lot more money in it.
Yeah,
And that account is aggregated with all the other accounts that go in there.
Correct.
So it's more than just our,
Yes,
whatever the money
but,
is.
but this is our portion that we see.
Yes.
yeah.
And so the question is, do we want to move some of that additional 50,000 into the CD
Mhm.
and still leave some in this other account because you're not dealing with the CD, you're not getting penalized if you
Yeah,
use
yeah.
it. The town would like to know, I'm sure they're trying to do cash planning, so they would probably want to know, so they can plan. That's why we do all these capital, why we have capital meetings and requests, and so that they can, because they invest the money probably too.
So
we
you
would
may
need to
move
cover-
more into the
So we would
CD.
need to cover whatever the cost of the carpet is and the shed, as we said before.
Yep.
Yeah. And, I don't know, you guys can decide how to say this. I still feel comfortable in saying, you make the decision as to how much we should move based upon what percent that CD
Okay.
is. Does that make sense? If it's 6%, oh my gosh, that's an easy decision.
Right,
She's not
right.
gonna.
If
But
it's 2%.
If it's 2.5, or 3, which is probably what we're getting on the savings account, I
Yeah.
don't know that it,
Oh, I don't think we're getting that on the savings.
I think
Probably
it was
nothing.
something.
Because
Oh, no, I
last
think
time it was 3.92%, and
Oh,
we
was
know
it?
that was lower than the time
That's a CD.
before.
Oh.
That's a
So
CD.
it's been going down.
Yeah, but the
every
savings, I think they,
month. Savings are usually
It's
like,
like 2.5 or
yeah,
something.
if you're lucky.
right.
They told me once, it was more than I thought, but less than.
Okay,
CD.
so now
if
what
that's
do
a-
we do? So we're
But you-
authorizing
you guys
Roberta
would
to
s-
make the decision with Lisa Keyworth to decide the term and the amount that will be rolled over in the CD.
That's what I would say.
And do
but
we
it's
want,
a-
but,
but that's okay, you still want to limit.
Well, no,
To
because
figure
it's
out.
not all just, maybe I have this wrong, but the 62,000 is in the CD, so that's gonna be rolled over. What we take out of the 50,000 is additional, it's not a rollover.
Correct. I would be adding it to, I
Okay,
would be
thank
combining
you.
it with the 62.
I just wanted to make sure I
Yeah.
got that.
You don't have to do anything.
No, I think it's
Yeah.
Okay.
good to get the higher interest, and I am comfortable with you deciding.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure if that's legally what we should do, that's all I'm
Oh.
saying. I think last time we put a dollar amount.
yeah.
So, do we want
It's not a matter of trust.
No, I completely
a
understand.
number out?
Can we make that decision without making a motion? Can we just do it? Do we have to make a motion?
How about 20,000?
I'll figure out how to wordsmith it, but it's just a matter of whether we want to vote on something.
Well, we definitely know we need the 10,000, so that we know. And we also know that if
I'd say we
we're
need
talking
50.
about the carpeting, that's another 10, so that's 20,000. So at a minimum, that's not bad. You still have 30,000 left in the other account, so maybe, if you want to max it at 20,000, I think that's fine. Because again, it's a
Yeah.
CD, it's gonna come up for renewal.
In 6
You know,
months, right?
whether-
Or 8 months, or 10
Yeah.
months, or 12
Okay.
months.
We'll see what the interest rate is. And I don't want to tie up your money too long, but I don't see any immediate needs other than what you've already,
So
We've talked
we're
about
authorizing you to make the decision about how much to transfer into the CD.
correct.
Um,
And then renew the
Give
CD,
you a
renew
little
the
wiggle room
CD
there.
at
Like up to an amount, like up to 25?
Oh, I thought you said 20. I'm
20.
Okay, I'm sorry.
25, I was looking, well, the carpeting, I don't know if the carpet is
It's gonna
10,000.
be more. That's
what I worry about.
25.
Just a little fudge there, because
Yeah.
I'm a good underestimator, yeah.
And if we don't spend it, then
I
it'll
hate
still
making
be there.
decisions.
All right, so we've got
She'll move it
Angie
to
making the
CD.
motion, Melissa seconding. All those in favor? Aye.
Linda writing it, yes, aye.
Yeah, and somebody looking at what I finally write and saying, no, 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 that's not it at all.
It's a team effort.
All right, should we adjourn?
Well done, chief. I'd make that motion.
All right.
Second.
6:12, we have, oh, I need a second.
Second minute.
Okay.
Aye.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.